Okay, so let's look at applying the line design to your design. And remember, I told you it's kind of wide open what design you want to use. The whole purpose of this is that you use your own creativity, okay? I had to get something to drink there. Okay, so here's an example. Let's just say you want to do your name. I've got the first three letters of my last name. I'm going to show you how you can incorporate your name into the requirements for your line design. If you've looked at the previous video, you can see how you actually make that line design work. So let's look at first three letters of my awesome last name, Stoughton. I've got S-T-O. So what I want to do is when I create this, I want to look at, do I have the angles that are required? Now obviously I'm not going to have all the required angles in this one because I'm just using a piece of my name. And if you don't have all the required angles, you may need to get a little creative and add some little designs. So let's say you want to do your name. Well, first of all, what do you see right there? I see a right angle. If you look on your rubric, you're required to have at least one right angle. So this satisfies the right angle piece. So what you're going to do is what we did on the previous video. I'm going to 1, 2, 3, let's say 4. It just depends on how many you want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create. I'm going to go furthest to closest, next furthest to next closest, next furthest to next closest, next furthest to next closest. You have just satisfied your right angle requirement. You've got the right angle and you've made it look pretty with the bending line design, okay? So you've just satisfied your right angle. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so let's see if we can find another angle type here. Well, don't you need a linear pair? Yes, of course you do. You need a linear pair. All right, so I'm going to look at the top of the T, and I'm going to use a marker that actually works. I'm going to look at the top of the T. If I look at the top of the T, don't I have, and they don't necessarily have to be right angles. Remember, I showed you the linear pair in the other picture. If you look in the picture I did on the previous video, do you see this linear pair? That's an obtuse angle put together with an acute angle. So your linear pair does not have to be two right angles, but I'm just giving you an example. So here's your hypothetical. I've got a linear pair right here. Okay? So that satisfies the linear pair requirement. So what I'll do is I'll do the same thing. I'm going to go 1, 2, let's just say 3 in this situation. 1, 2, 3. Make sure your design is symmetrical and act like you can draw straight lines like me. 1, 2, 3. Okay? I'm going to go closest to furthest, closest to furthest, closest to furthest. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Furthest to closest, furthest to closest, furthest to closest. You have just satisfied your linear pair requirement. Okay, so hopefully you're getting the hang of this. All right. Let's look at another possible angle pair that I see on this example. Now obviously I don't want you doing this on paper. Your rough draft will be on paper and I will need to see something like this which tells me, hey coach, on my awesome design, this is where my right angle is. This is where my linear pair is. So that is going to be part of your grade that you have that. So let's look at something else we can do here that will satisfy a requirement. You actually need a pair of same side interior angles, right? Yes, of course you do. Sorry, I'm talking to my imaginary friends. So you need same side interior angles. So I'm going to create a pair of same side interior angles. Now what I have to do in order to do that is I have to make sure that these lines are parallel. Okay, and again, these are right angles, but they don't have to be. And you'll see, I'm going to show you in a couple of other examples where they don't have to be right angles. So I could either pick this one and this one, or I could pick this one and this one, as long as these two lines are parallel. Okay, and those would satisfy my same side interior. I'm just going to go on this side. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to do that angle. Now you can go all the way down. Most people will go all the way down. if I want to do a fifth, I can do a fifth here and a fifth here, and then make my O a little bit bigger, and I can do a sixth so that I cover the whole O. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go closest to furthest, closest to furthest, closest to furthest, closest to furthest, closest to furthest. Okay? And then you can kind of connect that there if you want to. All right, so I've got the one angle. Well, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and this is where it's nice to use color contrast so you can see them. I've got this angle right here. That's the one you just labeled. See it? That corner angle. But for same side interior, I need the corner angle and I need this angle on the bottom. I've got to fill in this guy too, because those are your same side interiors. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like I did on the top. And here we go. Closest to furthest, closest to furthest, closest to furthest, closest to furthest, closest to furthest. And you have now satisfied your same side interior angle requirement. Okay? So you should be able to get the gist of this from looking at this picture. This is an example of what if you did your name. Now, I don't want you drawing this on a piece of paper. You can go out and get a board and use nails and yarn. You could get foam board and use push pins and thread. You can sew it into a pillowcase. You can do a 3D model. You can use any kind of materials you want. If you look at the rubric, the neatness that you have on your project and the originality and complexity go for 42 points of your project. Okay? So this is an example using the name. One quick note. If I use this as a special angle pair, I cannot use one of these again. Every angle can only be used once. Only once. Okay? Every angle can only be used once. If you have a situation where you feel like you have to have the overlap because of the nature of your design, come talk to me about it. Okay? But basically, I don't want you to say, oh, this is a right angle, these are same side interior angles, and those are supplementary angles, and use the same angles. It needs to be different. I need to have different sets. And remember, you'll have more letters than this. Okay? But this is an example of how you can get started using your name.